Yeah.
Everybody has an altar or a shrine.
Yeah.
Everybody has a way of prayer or communication or answering codes. Everyone has a way of magic.
So a great question for you. How can someone start who does not have a teacher directly to help them if they want to look into, especially from the African tradition, whether, and if you could also speak to that, what if someone, I have a really random example. I'll give it really quick though. We're looking at Archie, baby Archie, right? Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. When he has a child, say if he marries someone who is white, the kid no literally could forget that he had like a great grandmother or whatever who was African descent. So my point is, and that's what I share with my tribe, was I don't think we should draw these clear lines of who can't participate, because that kid has African ancestry. He may not look like it, but what if he is interested in African spirituality? So I'm just saying, for anybody watching who wants to begin to work with ancestors, but coming from this wisdom lineage, how would they begin? Do you have any suggestions of, in fact, maybe working with an altar?
Yes.
Yeah.
I also just
I'm sharing.
want to answer some of what you said in terms of,
Yeah.
knowing who is what and who belongs to who and what kind of ancestors they have.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are definitely connected to a lot of different spirits. A lot of us are mixed up, no matter what we look like on the outside.
Yes.
We are mixed up in ways that we can't even imagine at times. But I think that this is, when we look at lineage, it's a line, right? And you're drawing and you're tracking and you're going back and back and back. And I think that what's most important is to start with where you are and who you are, and allow that to be the tracker that's now to begin to unfold what else is inside of you. And this is one of the reasons why all people are indigenous to some place and to some land. And whether that's in Europe, whether that's in Australia, whether that's in the natives of America, like there are spirits of those lands that you are connected to that never came into human form in our deities, that were ancestors and practice certain things and work with medicines. And when you look at the indigenous stories all across the world, there are certain threads and things that everybody does. Everybody has an altar or a shrine. Everybody has a way of prayer or communication or answering codes. Everyone has a way of magic, of working with herbs, of working with candles, of working with something to change the energy of the space, of the family, of the politics in the community. So from that space, it's often talked, altar work is the first thing that we're introduced to, because it's something that is common around everywhere. Everyone has some type of temple. In ancient Egypt, there were temples. We still see the sculptures and the ways that they honored their spirits. Altar work is a great way to invite your spirits into your home, invite your spirits into your spiritual practice. You're setting up this space to say, hey, this is our portal. This is our place to communicate. And what I generally tell people is to just start with placing things in a sacred space in your home, whether that's on the floor, whether that's on a table, whether that's on a white cloth, and just infusing the elements of the earth is good to start, because the earth is everyone's mother. And we can't use the crystals, we can't use the incense, we can't use the candles. White candles are great to start with, and we can't use a bowl of water. Everybody worked with the four elements. And if you feel called to add things that inspire you, whether that's feathers, whether that's pictures of ancestors that you had positive relationships with, whether that's flowers that you're inspired by, whether you want to offer food that your family members ate, generation after generation. I'm just naming these things as a framework. But the most important thing about altar work is that you are guided. You let yourself be guided. You let yourself be inspired, because there are things that little things that people just put in their homes that are already altars. That they just don't think about it in that way.
Absolutely.
And the second piece is to, and as you begin to interact with this altar, right? So you go there and you burn some incense to clear the space. You begin to pray or communicate with your guides. You begin to meditate. This becomes a conversation between you and spirit. And
Yeah.
so you want to just pay attention to what is unfolding, because you may
Right.
start to see like, oh, this actually needs to be placed here in this way. Or you may now start to have a dream that's connected to the altar work that you're doing. That's like, okay, I had this dream of this spiritual guide that I've never seen before. And now I feel connected to it. And now I want to put a symbol on my altar to represent the fact that I want to continue to get to know this guide. I want to continue to have revelations about this thing that I have been intuitively given. You know, the
Yeah.
one thing that I appreciate instructions, and I appreciate all the information that is being shared online, but I want to see more conversation about like how we actually navigate this, because I can be so excited about an amethyst crystal and put it on my altar, and that amethyst never speaks to me, you know, or it'll be like 10 years before it does, because I just got it because it was cool, other than like I had a dream or I had a this or I had a vision, and then I put it there, and then I started to experience
with an intention or a purpose, or
exactly. And we can choose. I don't want to navigate the go away from the fact that we can choose symbols, because sometimes when we're beginning, we have no idea what we're doing. So we can choose something like, let's say, a feather, and say, you know, I just want this feather to be a symbol to the spirits, to let them know that I want to connect. And then you can say, like, every time I see a feather, I know that my ancestors or my guides are with me. Like, help this be a way to begin to start the conversation. So that's what I would say. The last thing that I'll say is that there is a difference between altars and shrines. We use that word interchangeably, but shrines are something that usually, you know, it's something that's either passed down by lineage or something that is erected in a very ceremonial way. And shrines are what there are a lot of rules around, because there are certain traditions and lineages that are associated with that, and ways of doing things where it's like, yeah, you probably need to do it this way because this is how it works with this shrine. And so when it comes to altars, you have more freedom and you have more flexibility. And so you don't want to, this, I'm just mentioning this because I think sometimes people get really caught up in like what the rules are. And altar is your creative space to connect with your guides.
Can I ask you a question then? Thank you for that. And actually, I did not know that, but in hearing you say it, I'm feeling like, is a shrine almost dedicated to a particular deity or ancestor? Is it like, is that part of the difference when I hear the word shrine?
Absolutely.
Okay. So yeah, it would have rules of colors or placement or rituals. Okay. Got it. So that would be, that would be more of a shrine, and we're working with altars. But how, and I guess I also want to say I wasn't making fun of people, because like you mentioned, you know, they may get an amethyst or they get this stone or whatever. And they may just be like, oh, that's cool. You know, I don't know. And they're just stumbling at first. But as we both said, you then start to tap into something. How often, like, how would you recommend somebody then work with the altar? I mean, daily, like, can you speak a little bit about that?
Yeah, I would say that it really, like, to me, the most ideal situation is daily. You start.
I knew you were going to say daily.
Because just the nature of ancestors is that they're family members, is that they are grandmothers and grandfathers that take care of us. They are our angels. They are involved with everything in our lives that we can think of, from work to family to your body, your health. Like,
they care, like they really care about all of that.
They really care about all of that. And so having a daily practice with them is like acknowledging the fact that this is already a thing, you know, waking up and starting your day with them, closing your day with them, you know, it's just enhancing the reality of the fact that they are involved. And
that they're with us. They're with us.
They are with us. And just like with any spiritual practice, it energizes and guides the direction of your day, you know, in a more beautiful and profound way.
Wow. I mean, I hear you saying a little bit of time in the morning and the evening, if somebody is dedicated, even just stopping at the altar, giving thanks, gratitude for the day. Like, everybody's on, gratitude, gratitude, gratitude journal. It can
Yes.
happen in front of the altar and then connecting with whatever your symbol or image is for the ancestors.
Yes.
Yeah. I think Gogo, it's so needed. I mean, as we're filming this, Kobe Bryant, and I think 9 people altogether have died suddenly, and to bring me to this part where in the West, sort of Western culture, you say rest in peace, and I was looking at there's another African healer and teacher that I follow, and he said, in the African tradition, our ancestors, he's like, it's not about resting in peace and like they're not around. He's like, no, they're with us, they're active. And I thought that was very interesting. Like he said it better than I'm saying it, but he was like, no, like they don't go away. With this rest in peace, it sounds like, like, okay, bye. And he's like, no, they're active. You want them engaged, like you're saying, with everything in your life. Yeah. Can you just say a little bit on that?
Yeah, because you started the conversation off with, honoring the spirit and the now ancestor Kobe Bryant and the different people that recently passed away. I want to start off by saying that when we transition, there's a period of time when we are transitioning into the spiritual realm. That period of time is sensitive.
Yeah.
And every tradition kind of has like a different perspective on it. Like I know in some of the Akan or Ghana teachings, they say that you want to give that spirit some space to travel, because sometimes it's not that we can't mourn and that we can't grieve, but sometimes we get in such states of grief and mourning that we just want that person here right now, but they're traveling, they're traveling. Yeah. And so in some traditions, there's a period, like a 40-day period of time where you kind of allow that space of like rest in peace, or transition in peace. Right. So I kind of understand where that's coming from, but I completely agree with the elder as well. Like, no, you want them to be active and, all of these things. So I'm just bringing that to add some storytelling in, that there's different ways of expression and understanding about all of this.
Right. And that there are different stages. I mean, yes, every culture, I know specifically in like Tibetan culture, there's a time where you're helping them to transition. Yes. There is a period where they're indeed maybe a little confused or it's like now they're in a different realm, and that can be a shock. I would think, especially if you die suddenly.
Yes.
I have to say that death has really hit me. I made a video about it, about why we might be really grieving someone we didn't know. And I think it's something when we see the suddenness of a passing, and young people, there were children on that flight as well. And I do think we can grieve those we don't know directly.
Absolutely.
Because they can be symbols of so many things and for us. So Gogo, tell me a little bit about how folks can work with you, and I will put links below, you guys, so you will have a way to get in touch with her. But yeah, just tell a little bit about your current work before we end.
I practice ancestral healing and ceremonial traditions through the Southern African tradition of Umbungoma. I am a Sangoma, an initiated healer in that tradition. I also, of course, work with my West African ancestors that I was born into. And from African traditions, we always start any type of work that we do from the space of a spiritual reading or an ancestral divination. And I do this specifically by what we call throwing the bones, which is a set of oracle tools that give us insights into, well, what is happening with you? What are the ancestors saying about you? Where are your blocks? And where are your blessings? And it's also a form of diagnosis, because we're like, if this is the problem or the issue, then here is the solution, or a way of starting to begin to hold space for the healing and the transformation that you seek. So I offer ancestral readings through my website on sacredliberation.com. And from there, I also offer healing sessions based on the messages that the ancestors have given. I offer like 4-week programs to help people develop their spiritual gifts and understand their connection with their spirits, and just workshops on these topics of dreaming and dream work, on ancestral work and spiritual protection, And then the last thing is that I also sometimes hold space in the form of workshop.
Now, when you do your workshops, though, are they on the West Coast, or do you do some on the, I mean, they can get on your mailing list, but generally, are you?
I'm in California, so I'm on the West Coast. And so most of anything in person is mostly in California right now, but I have traveled and shared in different spaces. So it depends. And then I also do stuff online when I can.
Could folks invite you, like if someone is watching this and they know they could get a group together? I mean, they can at least discuss that with you, right? Like if you're willing to travel, you know, if you're interested in working with her, you can, you know, you might be able to arrange if there's a big enough group or whatever.
Yes, absolutely.
So, oh, and tell us the name of your podcast.
Podcast is Ancestral Dreams, Omens, and Prophecies.
Okay.
You can listen to it on Spotify, on Anchor, and a number of different platforms. And I've really been enjoying sharing this podcast. It's really about storytelling. It's really about demystifying and decoding what the ancestral realm looks like and feels like, and just having that conversation, and also inviting a few guests and beautiful resources and wealth of people that I have been waiting so long to share with everyone.
Can we get it on iTunes though? You definitely want to.
I submitted. I don't know. It's not on iTunes yet. I'm still working towards that.
You know, what I love about podcasts is you can be like cleaning your house. You know, you can just, it's not, I feel like in our culture, like last thing, it's like we're always using our eyes, and then, you know, this digital, I feel like our other senses, and I'm sure it almost diminishes like our hearing, our sense of touch, because we're so visually focused and overused, I feel. So I think podcasts are a great antidote to that.
For sure. It also gives me that vibration of like oral storytelling and, just the way that our ancestors did things. So I resonate.
It's more intimate in a strange way. It is more intimate. It's like you don't see the person, but somebody just talking to you directly. There's something about that I do think is, it's almost very magical. Gogo, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Blessings, and I look forward to connecting again soon.
Thank you.